Hey, what's up, guys? We're back for the episode 4 of the Canadian MMA Podcast. It's a month. We're a month old, man. Congratulations to us. What's up, Josh?
Yo, what's up? How's it going, man? Ready to break down the Monster Nelson's fight, and we got some big fight announcements to talk through on the Canadian scene.
For sure, man. I'm excited for that. Once again, bro, like a fucking weird ass fight to break down. Like it's gonna be like I think that's the first thing I want to say. The gym in Canada right now that has put out the most fighters in professional fights is House of Champions, my guys in Hamilton, Crewalin, and all the team. They've had 2 pro fights basically, which is 1 pro fight more than all the other gyms. Their record: 0 wins, 0 losses, 2 draws. So, so it's been a wild start, a very fucking wild start to 2023. But yeah, before we do all of that, I had the chance today, and I feel kind of bad, man, because you told me like, oh, there's a guest that I really like to have on before his fight. It's Anthony Romero, and like the time that he could wasn't the same time as you. So I spoke to him, and unfortunately, you're gonna see at the end that I told him that if he wins, then we'll just bring him back, all 3 of us together, and just celebrate the fact that like he's basically into the PFL and on his way to try and win $1 million. And also, we'll go to the Anthony interview to begin. Then we'll break down all the fight announcements. We've missed some last week. We had so much stuff to talk about last week that we did not get to all the fights announcements, so we got 2 weeks worth of it right now. So we're gonna get into that. But before all that, should I say, let's speak with Anthony Romero, who's gonna be fighting in 2 weeks from now to get into the PFL season and get a chance to win $1 million. Hell yeah, guys, we're back with the one, the only, the genius Anthony Romero. What's up, man?
Not much. How are you?
Yo, first off, crazy ass shirt, bro. It's amazing.
Thank you. My brother got it done. Did a good job with the old GTA background.
Is that a one of one or?
He's making a bunch, so I think he's making a second order. So
Yo, I need one for real. When you got like a link or everything, just send it to me. I'm gonna buy one for sure. It's
okay.
Absolutely crazy, man.
Thank you. A lot of memories in this shirt.
For sure, bro. Oh man, I like it so much. So yeah, what's up? How you doing?
Good. Feeling strong, feeling ready, and just ready to rock and roll.
For sure, man. It's coming up February 17th. You'll be on the PFL Challenger Series against a guy that's named Tony Caruso, an Australian, if I'm right. What can you tell us about this opponent?
Yeah, I believe he's Australian. He's trained all over. Good opponent. So it's at this level, I'm not fighting bums. I'm fighting the top level competitors. So I'm excited to share the ring.
For sure. I wanted to know how this materialized, this shot at the PFL Challenger Series, because we've been waiting on something for a while. You were fighting for Fury, which it was a good league, but I think you were kind of like above that level, even though you were facing the top guys back there. But how did this all materialize, this opportunity for the Challenger Series?
I think just patience. It's been like you said, it's been a while. I wanted some type of big opportunity, whether it was UFC, Bellator, PFL, one of the bigger shows. I've been fighting for these leagues for quite a while, and I just felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. So I wanted to wait a little bit, see what opportunities would arise, and thankfully PFL gave me a call, and we got a deal done.
Cool, man. I don't want to like come back on the first Contender Series fight because I'm still mad about it, but I just wanted to know, were there ever other talks like after that fight to maybe like bring you back on the Contender or something related to the UFC, basically?
No, not that I'm aware of. So I'm not too sure why or any of that, but for me, I just felt like I should be able to get a short notice fight in the UFC. But whatever, never happened. So I'm moving on, and I see brighter lights ahead. So
For sure, because PFL, man, they're on one right now.
Yeah.
Like they've been going up, they've been signing talent and whatever you say. We might later get on that, but the whole Jake Paul thing and all that, it's like I think, to be honest, I don't like the PFL at all. Like
Yeah.
I think there's too much stuff. Smart cage, smart this, smart that, and the tournament. I'm not sure about the format at all. But like, I gotta give it to them. The quality of shows they've been putting on and the roster that they've been acquiring lately, I feel like, man, they're like quickly becoming the second promotion, and it's not even deniable at this point.
Yeah, I think that they're still a young promotion. They're still on their way up, so it'll take some time for people to understand the rules and the way you score points and all that kind of stuff. I'm still in the process of learning as well, but right now for me, it doesn't really matter. My job is to go out there and perform, and then once I get there, then I can kind of figure all that stuff out. But yeah, I see really good things happening with them.
For sure. So on your same card, the same card as you, there seems to be like cool matchups, but like, do you feel like you got let's say the edge on that? Because man, like, I'm gonna be 100 with you right now. Michael Dufort, good homie of mine, fought on the PFL Contender Series last year, and like basically the guy told me that once he got there, he really felt like there was like one guy that they wanted more than the others, and like really, like, no matter how the fights happened and everything, they were kind of focusing on that guy all weekend. It wasn't really transparent, like the way that to the other fighters, like it really seemed like they wanted that guy. So do you think there's a chance that you're that guy in that crew of fighters that are fighting out there that have like decent record and all, but they're not like 11-1 top level prospects? Like,
Yeah, I like to think so. I like to think that I'm one of the top unsigned prospects to finally get that chance to be in a big promotion. And who knows? Like I said, my job is to go perform. Everything else is out of my control. I can't really kiss up to the owners and be this special person. Like, my job is to go perform and fight. And if they like me, good. If they don't like me, then I got to keep pushing and keep moving on to see what's next. So
for sure, man. But like, I'm gonna make a case for you right now. It all goes back to my good buddy Olivier Aubin-Mercier. He just won
yeah.
155, got the million, then said Quebec is back, tabarnak, and then wanted for a PFL event in Canada and everything. And like, for real, Ali has been doing a lot for PFL, and I don't think they recognize him that much. But since he won, I feel like they just started to do so. And we've seen them move around. Now there's events in Vegas, Atlanta, Atlantic City, almost everywhere. They've done Florida. So, man, like, we have already got Alex Martinez, who's pretty good. He's Canadian. He's in that division. I don't know if he re-signed or anything, but I feel like they may want more Canadians on the roster if there's plans to go into Canada, because they know that they got to have Canadians if they got to come here. They just can't come here with a normal card full of Brazilians and Americans. Like,
yeah, of course. No, he's been doing a great job, especially coming from the UFC. He did well in the UFC, but what I like about it is that you don't need to be this big Conor McGregor person. You just have to go win. You just got to go win your fights. You get enough points, you win the championship, you're the champion, right? You don't need to talk. You don't need to do all that drama stuff, which I like about that, because and a lot of people know that watching that I'm not a trash talker. I'm not someone that's going to talk against my opponent. I go perform. I have the skill and I go win. So that's what I like. So.
For sure, man. And the 55 division is, I know they haven't like announced every guy yet, because like you're fighting in 2 weeks basically. So before they announce the full roster, they got to have the full roster.
Mm-hmm.
But like, we already know Ali's going to be there. Shane Burgos is going to be there. I feel like it's probably going to be the marquee division this year. So like, how exciting would that be to be able to sneak it into that bunch and get a shot at $1 million, man?
Oh, it'd be a dream come true. It'd be everything that I've been working for to fight against the top level guys. It doesn't get any better than that. Like, those guys are like the best in the world, and I believe I belong with them. And like I said, it's cool because in the UFC you get a guy who's number 5. he doesn't want to fight number 7 or number 8, right? So there's a lot of drama and politics behind it. So these guys, once I'm in there, then they have to fight me, regardless if they know who I am or anything. So, and that's where I go to prove myself.
Yep, and man, with the recent announcements and everything, I really have the feeling that they're pretty much not asking for your opinion when they book a fight, basically.
No,
Because from what I heard, like I don't think Olivier had accepted the Burgos fight at all, and then Burgos' manager was all over Twitter saying we did not even get offered these fights, and they're announcing them. So, like I feel like PFL is just, man, you're both in the division, you're fucking fighting, man. I don't care. So,
yeah, no, everybody fights everybody. It's the same thing when they put the Challenger Series card up. When everybody else knew, I knew. So as soon as they post on Instagram, I was like, oh, that's who I'm fighting. And so I had no chance to prepare or anything like that. It's pretty much like 4 weeks out, you find out, and you go fight this guy. So
for sure, it's a different way to do things. Like in that sense, I think I kind of like it because, as you said, in the UFC, like 55 is not that bad, but like 170, man, bro, nobody's fighting nobody, so it just gets stale at a point, and just cool that like the format just encourages everybody to just not caring because they're all there, and like there's a chance you fight any of these guys anyway. Because if he makes it to the final and you make it to the final, like there's no pick and fights at that point. So you just got to be ready to fight everybody, and I feel like that's a more, I want to say, old school way, but kind of like back in the days, people seem to give a fuck a little less about who they were fighting than.
exactly.
Now I think there's lots of politics involved right now, but man, how's a day looking like for you? Because I know you got your gym, you're out there at NTT, you're probably almost everywhere. So I want to know, what's that day looking like for you right now?
Yeah, it's busy, but busy is good, right? So busy is good for me. I train all morning. My whole morning's pretty much at Niagara Top Team. Where I do my pads, and then I do wrestling practice or jiu-jitsu, all that kind of stuff. So I have a busy morning. And then the afternoon, I'm pretty much going to the gym for the rest of the day. I'll train with some of my guys, some jiu-jitsu rounds, all that kind of stuff. So it's all MMA for me, pretty much.
For sure. And how's it been going, the gym? How's the team coming apart?
Good. Thankfully, everything's been good. We expanded. So now we're like double the size for space. My younger brother's helping me out now too. He's an instructor, so he's running classes. My sister's like an assistant instructor. So the whole family is running the whole thing.
So it's in Welland, right?
In Port Colborne, but it's like 15 minutes away from Welland. Yeah.
For sure. So if you guys are ever in that area, you want to train Genius MMA, man, that's the spot, of course. And if you're in the Niagara area, just go to NTT and get your ass kicked by fucking monsters all over the map.
Yeah.
So hey, I'm gonna let you go, my guy, since you're busy and all. But I'm just so happy you took the time. And bro, maybe after the win we could celebrate, because Josh, my co-host, told me that you were one of the guests that he really wanted to have on the podcast, and now we have you on the podcast, but unfortunately he's not there right now at the moment. So maybe we could do this again to celebrate your entry into the PFL or whatever, man.
Yes, of course. I'd love that. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Always, my guy. So tune in February 17. I'm going to share everything you need to know on MMA Talk, like where to watch and all that. And we can even go the alternative way. If you're not able to watch it, just DM me, guys. But we're going to be looking at this fight, of course, because we want our men to be in the PFL and to win a lot of money, man. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Yes, thank you. Have a good one.
I'm jealous, man. That was my idea. I wanted to talk to him, and you got to. But hey, I'm excited to talk to him afterwards when he gets that big win. And he's gonna put on a show there. They got the celebrity judges. They all get to vote on one of the winners to get a contract. And Romero's gonna come out with a big performance and leave them no other choice.
Yeah, he's gonna win. He's gonna be good, and like I told him, Big Fall basically told me that he felt like the Challenger Series was rigged, basically, and they already know which guy they wanted, and that if that guy won, they were gonna pick that guy no matter what happened. And with Ali's success and him saying that he wants to bring PFL to Canada and PFL going to more and more places, Anthony might be the handpicked guy in that bracket, because I looked at the other guys fighting on the same night, and Like there's no guys that like have records as impressive and just like they don't look as good coming out as fucking Anthony Romero, man. This guy's an animal, bro.
Yeah, man, Romero's just so well-rounded, so technical in his striking. I think he's got the black belt in Taekwondo as well as Jiu-Jitsu, so he's just so impressive in every aspect. No matter where the fight goes, he feels comfortable and in control. And the one loss is to a split decision loss to JJ Okanovich, and you know he's fought some good opponents as well. JJ has, and you know, like Romero styled on the Contender Series, beat the crap out of Mike Breeden for 3 rounds, and they go and give Breeden a contract for being tough. And yeah, Dana's gonna be Dana.
Fucking Dana's gonna be Dana for sure. I think it wasn't really on the subject, but did you see the fucking clip where he basically forgets Islam's name?
Yeah, he's like, so Volkanovski's gonna be fighting. Yeah, he's gonna be fighting him.
Yeah, there's like a journalist who's like, Islam, yeah, that fucking guy, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, bro. So yeah, pound for pound, number 1 versus 2. That's all he cares about. That's all they want to promote.
Yeah, I think the biggest promotion for that event is basically the fact that it wasn't promoted.
That's what's getting all the headlines. That's what's helping it get promoted now, it feels like, because the Slap League is too busy getting all the headlines.
Yeah. We're living in a crazy time. I just wish Dana like pretended that he still gives a fuck, but he just can't, man. We gotta give that to him. He's just too fucking honest, man.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck what people think.
Yup. So let's talk about Canadian MMA. Fuck, man, I'm so high I can't speak right now, bro. What the fuck? I think it's McDonald's affecting me, man. I'm getting the terminal McDonald's disease. But yeah, now let's speak about some Canadian MMA, bro, because that's the thing we give a fuck about. Before we get into some fights, just some quick changes, tweaks to some schedules and all. Unified MMA, they were set for Unified 50 on March 3. It's going to be on March 31st. At the end, they haven't announced any fights yet and everything, so they just pushed it back a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks. Then BTC were set in March for March 5th in Belleville, Ontario. Is going to be on March 18 in Kingston, Ontario. Finally, Belleville can host the event, so they moved it to Kingston, which is an hour and a half east, so not really far away. Kind of like in Belleville, let's say you're close to the Toronto area. When you're getting to Kingston, you're kind of getting away from the Toronto area. But it's still close to Belleville, so people in Belleville that wanted to see this event, it's not that big of a drive. You can absolutely go there and go back home after the show, and there's probably gonna be no problem about it. So that's it. Then that's it. That's about what I wanted to say. For that, let's talk about some BFL, bro, because they've been active. They've been the ones just blowing us away with all these announcements. You had guessed it, man. The main event: Jared Revel, JT Money, Jesse Taylor. Let's go.
Yeah, man. VFL 76 is going to be an interesting one because you see like they're trying to make it. It's titled Canada versus USA, so they're obviously bringing in a lot of guys from the States. Some guys that have already fought in VFL a couple of times, like Jesse Taylor, JT Donaldson. And I think, yeah, there's a couple others that have a bit, but they haven't been officially announced. Just speculation on my end. But yeah, this is the first, like, the big fight that they've got. Like, Jesse Taylor's obviously a huge fighter. He's a big opportunity for Jared Revel to get back in the win column here against a big name like Taylor, because it's been somewhat of an unfortunate stretch in the LFA for Revel. He was 11-2, looking like he was 1 win away from being signed to a big promotion ahead of his LFA debut against Silveria. But you saw that he lost over 5 rounds in that fight. It was a pretty competitive fight, but just like the takedown sort of got him. But he was able to get up a couple times, like get back up to his feet nearly every time with submission attempts and just use that to sort of back up Silveria. And yeah, it's going to be important that he keeps the submissions going and he's active on his back, because you know that Jesse Taylor's really just trying to wrestle. He's got a wrestle heavy approach. He's had some crazy performances his last 2 fights. Like, he's coming off of 2-0, 20, like no fights last year, but in 2021 he got 2 big wins in less than a minute and 15 seconds in the cage, both rear naked chokes. And yeah, was supposed to fight twice last year, had to pull out in July due to injury, and we know what happened in that Cage Warriors New Year's Eve main event thing with him. But yeah, Jesse Taylor's coming back to the BFL cage. He's 2-0 with both those wins coming back in 2011, and one of them coming against Dennis Kong. Those were at BFL 7 and 6, so it's quite almost 70 events later, and he's coming back. And yeah, can't wait.
Bro, it's a crazy ass fight, man. To be honest, it's a crazy fight. It's gonna be interesting at this point. Like I don't know. I kind of feel bad saying that, but I really think Jared's going to the UFC or anything at this point. Like, unfortunately, he's just on the older side, and that sucks because, as you said, the fight with Silveira, I think, was very competitive, and I remember watching that fight and being like not happy that he lost, but kind of happy in the way that it went, because Silveira was such like a young and bright prospect, was basically the son of the fucking ATT coach or founder or whatever, and like, it was never gonna be a good matchup for Jared, and he just did so well in that fight. So I was really happy for him, but I think at his age and everything, it's going to be tough for him to get that opportunity to fight in the UFC. But it could maybe open a door for a Bellator or something fun for him, where he could get like a couple final good paydays before the end of his career. So I'm really excited for that. But I really got to be honest, man, the one that excites me the most, and it's not because of the matchup, it's just because Jamie Siraj is going to be fighting it. That's just absolutely fucking crazy, man. If you follow this guy, he's been through, bro, life-threatening stuff for years, man, like illnesses and everything. Like, I don't even want to get into it because I don't know half of it. I just know that it's been a very, very tough ride for a guy who is 8-2 and what was at a point like the number one candidate to be the next Canadian to be signed to the UFC, and like everything just got postponed. But I feel like if he can come back this year and just win some fights and get on a streak and maybe get a shot at the BFL belt or whatever, it could still happen for him. And like, bro, I'm telling you, at the very second that this guy steps foot into the cage, whether he wins or he loses or anything, he's the comeback fighter of the year. Like, there's no way around it. It is just incredible that this guy is able to fight, and he's going to be fighting Ryan Rohovich. And man, I just can't wait, man. It's going to be such a story.
Yeah, you flash back to 2019 and Jamie Siraj was on a 5-fight win streak, 4 of those being by finish. And he was scheduled for a title fight with Rise FC against UFC's Chad and Helliger. And like from there, you know, Jamie was forced to pull out due to some medical complications, and that kept him out of the MMA scene for nearly 4 years. But you see what happened with that fight was Chad and Helliger. He fought Brady Highstand, like the 20-year-old, finished him with the uppercuts, then got a shot at the Contender Series where he got a split decision win and got signed. So if you just think like what could have happened back then if Jamie didn't get injured, he could have picked up a win against Chad, and who knows. But now he's facing off against Ryan Rohovich, who's never gives up. He's gone 5 rounds with Achilles Estremadura, super durable, and just crafty on the ground. It's going to be a good one. I can't wait to see Jamie back in there.
No, for sure, man. And like I said, I don't really know like the exact nature of everything that happened, but I just remember that there were by following him on Instagram, there was just so many ups and downs. And like there were points where it was like, oh, I'm good, I'm ready to come back, but like wasn't able to get licensed, and they would get sick again, and like crazy stuff happening. And the way that he was just able to fight through it all, and now he's scheduled to come back. it's very inspiring, and I can't wait. And like I said, Ryan Rohovich, like you said, bro, this guy is just, there's no quit in him. Like, he's not gonna pretend that like he's the most athletic, the most skilled, the most anything, but he's gonna be there and he's gonna fight his ass off. And he submitted Josh Kwiatkowski in the Hail Mary Paul Craig types of triangle submission, and that's what puts him in this position, because Josh is fighting on the event too. He's gonna be fighting, like you said, a guy who already was in BFL, JT Donaldson. And it's a good fight, but you gotta feel that, like, 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, Josh was probably in the position to have the big. And I don't know about their training situation. There may be training partners, but like, you felt like Josh was probably the guy that was primed to have the bigger name fights, and like Ryan just basically took that away from him with a very slick late fight triangle last year.
Yeah, and I think that was Ryan's like first fight in 4 years or so, or 3 or 4, and so that was super impressive to see him come back off of like a nearly 4-year layoff with that Hail Mary win, and then of course had not as good results in his last fight back at BFL 75, but good to see him making a quick turnaround and fighting a super talented Jamie Siraj.
Yep. Then, like we briefly touched on, Josh Kwiatkowski, JT Donaldson. What can you tell us on that?
You got Grandma's boy, JT Donaldson, coming back to the BFL cage for the first time in nearly 5 years. He's faced some really good competition like AJ McKee and Jamie Siraj. It hasn't gone his way in those fights, but he's 3-1 in the last 2 years. He's had some good success there. He's coming off his lone loss in that was to Laird Anderson, but he's a 3-0 prospect in Bellator, and he's coming into this fight with a decision win in Motown Throwdown back in October. And, you know, Josh, it was good to see him get back in the win column in Rumble in the Cage, where he got the featherweight championship over Tim Tamaki. And this could be fight of the night here. They're both ready to throw down and got super entertaining, like active styles on the feet.
Bro, when you're fighting at Motown Throwdown or whatever, you know that you're ready for the big leagues, man. Then, really exciting matchup, in my opinion, and all Canadian matchup. Alana Cook, Jackie McLean. It's going to be BC versus Alberta here. And I just like Alana Cook, man. She's just a cool girl in general. She always like reacts to my stories on Instagram and just like has some generally funny things to say about lots of stuff. I just like her vibe. She's a cool girl. And Jackie McLean is a good fighter for Shave Bears MMA. Been putting in work and should have a better record than she has, to be honest. She's way better than her. I think she's 3-2 or something like that, but I think she's better than this record. So it's going to be a good fight, because Alana only fought twice. She's 2-0. She's looking very good, but she's going to have like a really serious opponent in front of her for that fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alana, I got to see her live back in, I think it was BFL 72 maybe. She was super impressive there. She was like, I think, really good grappling. I haven't gotten the chance to watch Jackie McLean, but coming out of Shaved Bears MMA, that's a legit gym, and this is a high-level women's fight.
Yep. Then we've got a Raf Ouellet fight announcement, man. Raf Ouellet, Ian Maslov. Bro, man, fucking go Raf Ouellet. Ouellet bros, motherfucker. Powell River represent. I don't know where it's at. Looked at it on the map. Looks on the map, and it looks to be super far away, man. Like,
yeah, I think Raf is doing a bit of training in Victoria now. I think he said he's living in Victoria, I think, now. So getting some work down. I think working with Max Temmel. Shout out to him. He's on the prelims fighting against Dylan Forrestor. They're both 2-0. It's a crazy prelim fight for BFL. I think it's for a belt, but getting back to Raphael, man, such slick jiu-jitsu. Like, he's got some good wins as an amateur, and it's always super impressive, his control on the ground. That ganja smoking mad rubber guard, his Instagram. He's a dope guy. He's got the triangle. He's got lots of submissions, but another one of these Canadian versus American fights.
For sure, man. And just know the Ouellet brothers are. They're my guys, man. And I think the two other fights that were already booked, like Johnny Broad, Christian Tremaine. What do you have on that? I think that one is really interesting.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Like you saw, it got canceled. It was supposed to happen back in October, I think, but Johnny was just coming off of a quick fight back at Karate Combat, where he was fighting a guy that was like so much bigger than him, huge. He lost the fight by a decision, but he had some good moments there. Like got a really nice spinning kick that I saw. But yeah, this is going to be a good one. We can Christian Tremaine's always super entertaining in the build up to fights, talking trash on social media, being pretty relentless, and I think that this is going to be a good fight. Like I'm expecting some more entertainment and build up on the side of Christian, and Johnny called him a bully. Johnny isn't. He seems like a very traditional martial artist. He doesn't want to get involved in any of that crap, but I think it's going to be a really entertaining fight. Christian's saying he's going to take him down. He's going to just take him down to the ground. And you saw Mike McAloon had some success in that regard in Johnny's last MMA fight. But if it's standing, Johnny's always live for that KO. And Christian's a tough guy. He does have really good grappling despite some of the submission losses, and stepped up on short notice to Craig Shetani, which is like a crazy thing to do back at Havoc a couple of months ago. Like you got some balls to do that. Much respect to Christian.
Yeah, for sure, man. And then McKinday and Taylor Christopher. That's a matchup, man. That's a matchup. McKinday is very powerful, and he's getting into his own right now. To be honest, when he came in, didn't have a good record. Lost to Max Susi. It wasn't looking bad, but wasn't looking super good per se. But now he kind of is getting into his groove a little bit, getting some wins together, and he's getting a huge shot at Taylor, who just basically fought for the belt, even though he's very young in his pro MMA career.
Yeah, both of these guys are great athletes, and I think they both have a lot of potential to grow even more. Like Christopher's coming off that unsuccessful challenge for the title against one of Canada's best, Matteo Vogel. And although he lost, he had some success with the striking in round one and was looking good in the early moments. McKinday, he's sort of turned his career around with, like you said, started off 0-3 and has gotten 2 quick wins this past year. One against the aforementioned Raphael Ouellette, and that last one against Brandon Lebrec was pretty good. He hurt him on the feet a couple of times. It looked like he's super explosive striking, makes all of his shots count, and has shown pretty improved grappling as he stayed safe versus Raphael, and he survived a really tough round 3 against Brandon and managed to get the decision win there in his last one. I think it's going to be a very explosive fight. You have to think Christopher comes in trying to wrestle as he's been training with Naveed Zangana at Coquitlam MMA. And you know how good Naveed is in the grappling department. It should rub off on Taylor. And yeah.
Can't wait for that one, man. Then let's get into some samurai, which is particular because bro, it's just the commissions suck, man.
Oh, really?
The commission just sucks. Basically, before, it's weird because boxing promotions are announcing their fights in Quebec, and there's basically no problem. But Daniel is such a cool guy who wants to respect all the rules and everything, and the commission asks that he doesn't announce the fight before they approve the fight. But he basically sends the fights, and they fucking wait a month out or 3 weeks out to basically approve the fight. So I know the fucking fights, but it's just we can't really get into it officially before it's announced by the promotion and everything. But there was still some big news coming out of Samurai recently, basically by the form of signings. And when you look at the signings and you try to put the math together, you can get a good idea of who's going to be fighting who. But for the signings, there was Gordon Cunningham. The guy is a middleweight /205ers fighting out of Adrenaline MMA. I think he fought in BFL against the Ivan guy. Where's that fucking guy too? Huh? The Ivan Rischuk guy, crazy Ukrainian fighter. Was he Ukrainian? I don't remember.
Honestly, I have no idea, man.
But that guy was absolutely insane, bro. Both times he fought, he was completely crazy, and one of these times it was against Gordon. So they signed Gordon Cunningham. It's gonna be of course, a heavier weight fight. Then they signed Isaac Blais, which is one of the brightest prospects we have in Quebec. The guy's out of Gatineau, Team Patnaud. He's just amazing. He's called Spider-Man. He's a bantamweight that could fight at flyweight. He'd be a like tall ass and long ass flyweight. He's quite athletic, but just very agile. Like the guy is able to sneak his legs in at places. He's more out of striking camp, but he's a weirdly good grappler for a guy who's at a striking camp. So very interesting prospect. Isaac Blais already 2-0, hasn't fought in a while. Then they signed Souyab Damani, who I don't know. He's a guy from Tunisia, but I think he trains out of Quebec City now, so he's going to be in action. And the two big ones, Jordan Balmir, who's going to be making his pro debut in MMA. He has lots of MMA experience at the amateur level and was also a pro boxer that was, I don't want to say quite well known, but like in Quebec, when he was on an event, like people knew him and they were looking forward to his fights and everything. It was a pretty good like pro boxer. He had some success like as a pro boxer, and now he's going into MMA. He's training with Charles and Louis Jourdain, basically. So he's going to be looking to fight. I think it's going to be at 170, and it's going to be against another striker. It's going to be absolutely insane. Like one of the sleeper fights on the card for sure. If you don't know the guys, if you know the guys, it's not a sleeper at all. Like in Quebec, it's not going to be a sleeper at all. People know what they need to expect with that fight. And
yeah, it feels like you're Dana White. If you don't know, now you know.
Exactly. And then the final one that's the big one. That's Louis Jourdain. He's gonna be coming home finally, fighting in Quebec. And bro, like the Jourdain brother on the event is just good. It's good for business. It's good for the show because Louis is a crazy motherfucker. He's like, I think I dare to say that he's maybe a little more technical than Charles on his feet. Like Charles, he's technical, but he's insane, and he wants to be flashy, and he wants to do like the crazy stuff that looks good. Louis is less concerned into doing the crazy stuff, but he fights like a madman. Like I don't know if you saw his Tony Laramie fight at TKO. That was like one of the most insane fights ever. And he's just like that. He's a gamer. He's gonna go forward. He's gonna try to lend some volume on his opponent, and he's very, very tough. Like he doesn't care if you get hits back. So it's always a very fan friendly style, and it's gonna be great, man. If you add the Louis Jourdain and Jordan Balmir to the Morrisons and Ramsays and Dufaur and Morgans, and of course the fight that we're not supposed to speak about, but Robert Serres and Jesse Ronson, we've been talking about that one. So that one I'm not really afraid to speak on, because like it's been said that Jesse Ronson's coming in to fight for the belt, and it's been said that Robert Serres is going to be fighting for the belt in his next fight. So that's going to be huge. And Alex Morgan too. And like, it's just going to be, bro, a crazy, crazy event on March 11th. And I just can't wait that fucking commission gets the stick out of their ass and just starts approving fights so that we can get the fights out there, because bro, the tickets are selling out really fast. Like people are buying tickets and are super excited for the events, and they don't even know one fucking fight on the event, bro. So just imagine, like, bro, some people are waiting to see fights to buy tickets, and there might just not be tickets left when that time comes. So
yeah, you finally get to look and see, oh, they finally announced all the fights. I'm going to go buy my tickets. Sold out already.
Yeah, no, like the tables sold out on the first day. They sold out most of the VIP tickets on the floor. There's still places on the floor. Of course, the fighters are going to be having tickets. There's always tickets that have been put aside for the fighters, but it's not everybody who knows a fighter to buy tickets from. So, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Samurai's getting a bit impatient with the commission, because they're like, as as obviously as they can, trying to announce the fights without announcing the fights. You just go look at their Instagram and their last 2 posts. It's like they're trying to spell it out for everyone what's happening.
Yeah, no, they're doing everything they can to kind of make it known without really saying officially on a poster, because they've done it once with a fight on a poster, and it wasn't approved, and they got calls from the commission like almost immediately and everything. So, bro,
Yeah, not worth it.
They're bugging, man. They're old, man. They're very old. You go there and you watch them. I don't think there's one person under 70. So.
Yeah, so can't talk about Ronson versus Series then.
Yeah, you can talk about it if you want, for sure, bro. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm super excited for this. Just looking at that, like, of course, everyone's going to be excited because the body snatcher is trying to continue his winning ways since departing the UFC, and he hasn't lost in Canada since 2016. He's a UFC and Ultimate Fighter veteran, and you got Series on the other hand, who's had nothing but success since joining Samurai with 3 crazy, super impressive finishes. Like, he's turned his career right back around in the right direction, and super powerful, great guillotine choke, and always puts on a show. And like the stakes are super high in this one because for Series, it's like another stoppage here, and this time against a UFC veteran, it would be crazy big and punching his ticket to the big show. And for Ronson, if he gets another quick win since being cut, especially like a stoppage, you'd have to imagine that he gets another shot in the UFC, especially if they come to Canada this year.
Yeah, or like I've seen him today, just like he's so funny on social media, man. He's like really the Facebook guy, man. You rarely see him post like much shit on his Instagram or anything, but you can almost guarantee that once a month he's gonna be very pissed off about something on Facebook. And today was the Max Roscoff salary, who basically was on is on a 30-30 contract at Bellator. And the guy, like he said, basically fought once in the UFC and quit after 1 round, and was basically thrown out in shame. And then the guy's fighting for 30-30 at Bellator, while Ronson is not. He's not getting paid 30-30 to fight at Samurai, unfortunately. But yeah, for Series, it's I think it's this year or never, man. To be honest, because he's another guy who's like the thing that scares me is that basically we've got, I think, Blake Builder beating Alex Morgan on the Contender Series, and Dana White's like, oh, I'm not really looking for 32-year-olds, but I'm gonna still take you. And the Series is like, I think he's 33 or 34, something like that. So, like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna be this year, because once you get to 35 and more, they're just not really looking at you, except if there's like a super short notice situation in a card in Canada and they need a fill in and you're close to weight. Now they're just gonna bring in like anybody, because they need somebody to be on to take the fight. But yeah, man, I feel like it's this year or never, and I feel like he knows it, because he wanted to fight Migdfall. That would have been a rematch. To be honest, I don't know about this matchup. I think it was pretty decisive the first time that they fought, and I don't really know how different it could go. But having the Jesse Ronson opportunity is probably like, if you want to punch your ticket to the next level right now and you're fighting in Canada. You want to fight Ronson? You want to fight Shane Campbell? You want to fight Scott Hudson or Adam Asenza? That's it. These are the guys, basically.
Yeah, anyone that's
Prepolek. I forgot Prepolek, but yeah, of course Prepolek.
Yeah, anyone at that level, like where you're close to making it to the UFC and you get a win over a UFC veteran, that's just so huge. Like, it almost gives the UFC no chance to say no if you're already on the radar and you get that big win against a veteran that they had previously signed. It's such a big chance for him.
Yep. So I'm really looking forward to this one and all the other fights that I hope Samurai are going to be able to announce soon. But let's move on. 2 other promotions to look into. The one that we missed last week, I think we should have talked about that, but bro, we were too focused on the fights, and that's cool, because that's more stuff to talk about this week. But man, Fight League Atlantic 8, March 18, same day as BTC. It's at the same place in Moncton. And bro, the two pro fights that were on the poster, it's pretty crazy, man. I don't know which one they're gonna put main event because they're two enormous fights. We've got Terry Lemaire, my guy, man, from Timmins. Good time. He's back and he's fighting Morgan Rines, who's the hometown favorite, the guy who is from there. And then Sean Wallace, Justin Cundy. That's gonna be absolutely banging, bro. That's gonna be crazy. If I had to flip a coin like right now, I think I'd put my money on Wallace Condi being the main event, but just two crazy ass fights, man.
Yeah, I don't know if they meant to release it, like, because they were saying beforehand that they were going to release it, but during FLA 7, they never made a big announcement like they said they were going to, and like announce the fights. But when they had that second super long intermission because they didn't have an ambulance there, it came up on the screen for like 10-15 seconds, and then after the fights, good time, Terry Lemaire was he's posted it on his Instagram, but still nothing from FLA. I'm not sure why they haven't recognized it and posted it, but obviously crazy. They got that big main event last time with Dokai and Savoie, and now even like two even bigger fights. Like, I'm not sure which fight was bigger, but to have two fights of this magnitude on the same card is crazy for FLA. It's great to see them really getting these experience, like name value fighters in Canada on their cards.
For sure, man, and it's gonna be great too. Really good style matchups. Morgan Rines is a very complete fighter. He can do everything. Terry Lemaire is like Muay Thai and guillotines. The guy is he's gonna come at you, strike like a crazy motherfucker because he just wants you to shoot on him because he's gonna choke you out if you do, and that's always a style I just absolutely love. And then Condi and Wallace, bro, is just. That's high level shit. Wallace has been around for a while. It's another guy who could be in the UFC if he was more active. But unfortunately for him, he's been having a tough time finding opponents and getting fights and everything. But now he's got one. And Justin Condi is a guy who does not have the biggest record. It's an amazing record, but it's not a big record. The guy's not experienced or nothing. But if you can move up to like 5-1, 4-1, something like that, with a big win over the homie Sean Wallace, who's like 8-2. That's how you put your name with the big dogs, even though you're only like 4, 5, 6 fights into your pro career, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Wallace, it's his first fight in like 4 years. Like you said, it sucks that he hasn't been very active, but he's a great finisher in all aspects. Like 6 of 8 of his wins are finishes, 4 of them by KO, and he was pretty active before the layoff, so I'm assuming something just happened due to COVID. Like maybe he had to work elsewhere. And
yeah, like COVID and Eastern Canada, man, they're just far.
Yeah, it seems like they things didn't work out so well over there compared to on the West. Like things were still a shit show over here, but I think the East got the worst of it.
And like they it wasn't like, I think in terms of cases and all that, it wasn't that bad. The only thing is that they were completely isolated because between the rest of Canada and them, there were the two craziest fucking provinces.
Yeah.
Like Quebec and Ontario, that was locked the fuck up for like 2 years more. So they were just, man, they were isolated, completely isolated there. In yeah, it's just not a good situation. And
but yeah, it's sorry.
Like, and Sean is just, he's got some fights, man. It's not a guy that, like a guy from Eastern Canada, he's going to cost like more money because they don't have big airports and all that. It's always easier to get a guy from Montreal or Toronto or Vancouver and to make him fly to whatever the fuck you are than to get a guy who's from like a small place in Eastern Canada that has to go, let's say, up to Halifax to find a semi-decent airport to then probably fly to Montreal or Toronto to then fly to wherever the fuck he's going at. It's just, it costs more money. The guy is good, man. He's just good. And like, if you can get a guy with a similar record that costs less money, who is not that good, to fight your guy, because often Sean Wallace is the guy that is brought somewhere to fight somebody. So it's just bad situation all around for him. But I'm really happy that he gets to fight. Participant of the MMA Talk pool, Sean Wallace, man.
Yeah, he's from Prince Edward Island. It's not too easy to get in and out of there, I don't think. And
No, it's not, man. It's not, bro. There's one bridge that goes there.
yeah, he's only lost to the best in Canada, like Adam Asenza and Mandel Nalo. So like this is it's a big step up for Condi, who's got super slick grappling, great transitions, and winner of this is going to be in a really great spot for the next part of their career.
Yes, man. Can't wait for these two fights. Fight League Atlantic really going all in to we're speaking about Samurai going all in, but Fight League Atlantic really, like you said, bringing the big talent into Eastern Canada, and that can only be good. And motivating for the younger fighters to be on these cards with these good fighters is just brings more eyes and brings more everything to MMA, and that's what's important, because I've said it many times, but the old shit was to be rebuilt there. And Craig, what the fuck am I saying, bro? Derek is doing an amazing job, bro, back there to rebuild all of that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for like Terry Lemaire and Morgan Rines, if I can touch on this one too a little bit, like it's a crazy fight. Like Morgan takes no easy fights. Just fought one of Canada's top prospects in a crazy bantamweight division that we have here. Taché Guthro, went all 3 rounds with him, and he's got a bit of an experience. I don't know what's the experience at. It's pretty even, I guess.
Yeah, because Terry fought Muay Thai fights, went to the fucking MMA tournament or some shit, or like fought for more Team Canada Muay Thai and everything. So between like his absence from pro MMA, he was putting on some fights in Muay Thai, but still Terry is like super experienced for a guy of his record. So I don't think there's gonna be really a discrepancy here, to be honest.
Okay, yeah. That being said, like Terry, he was on a very impressive 5-0 win streak before that TKO loss back in 2021 to a very experienced Jeremy Pender. And the cancellations kept him out of the cage last year. He had 3 scheduled bouts, but Front Row Fight Club just couldn't keep their event held together. And one of them was at a different promotion. Can't remember where, but yeah.
He had the BTC fight against Imperato, which Imperato pulled out of to go fight, I think, for Prospect, where he got knocked out by a black Finnish guy in the first round.
That was a brutal knockout. Yeah, that was brutal.
Was it like there was the Bears? He had an interesting nickname. I need to find that. He's a pretty cool fighter there. Why is there no nickname on Topology? But yeah, it was Edward Walls. And he's won another fight since then. So shout out to Edward Walls. But let's look into some prospect right now, because they're back March 5th in Toronto for PFC 15. And we finally got 3 fights announced. The first one that we want to touch on is probably out of the 3, the biggest ones. And it's Boyan, who's going to be back fighting home. That does not happen often. The guy is basically all over the world fighting almost everybody. Probably fought 25 times last year, but now he's going to be back home and he's going to be fighting against a guy from Chile, Alfredo Muyad, who is 8-4 and who I don't know shit about, but maybe Josh does.
Judging from Alfredo's record, he's 8-4 and he's been alternating wins and losses his last 5 fights. So it's kind of inconsistent, but he's looked to have faced really good competition with strong records, and he can go long. He's got like the equal amount of knockout wins and decision wins, which is good to see. But just judging off of the record and like all knockout or decision wins, you have to imagine that Balkan boy's got the advantage on the ground, because from what I've seen, he looks like he has really good wrestling. Coming off that crazy 2022 where he went 4-1 with 3 finishes and really pushes the fight to get a finish once it hits the mat, from what I see. So it's a great fight.
Yup. Then Nigel Crosswell against Anton is it Potoshki? Because it's CKI, often it's like Polish or something. But I don't know the guys from, I think, MAS, which is a decent, very, very good gym, should I even say, back in Ontario. So that's a good matchup because Nigel is now at House of Champions with Noah. There he's gonna be looking for his first win to like his brother. I think Nigel is 0-2 and Noah's 0-3 right now, but they've been in weirdly competitive fights. The Crosswell brothers, they don't win, but they're always there and they're always like putting on I remember he lost against Pierre Tivierge, but he really gave Pierre some trouble for the time that it lasted. And once Pierre was able to figure him out, he was able to get the finish. It was like a comical matchup too, because Nigel is for a flyweight like on the tall and long side, and we all know Pierre Tivierge is basically 5'1". He's the smallest fucking guy you'll ever see in your life. So it was just comical, the size difference, but. Yes, it's a good fighter. I don't know about Anton, but I look forward to see what's up. And we've got a women's fight: Andrea Watson against Sierra Lee Dinwoody. It's gonna be at 145, 2 pro debuts. So I don't know if you got anything to say about these two matchups.
Yeah, it's I don't know, first female fight in PFC history, which is cool to see. It's great to see them adding the women's fights to it, and I got all of my information off of the Instagram caption. So shout out PFC for giving us some detailed info. But it's Watson's fighting out of BC. Was a member of the 2022 Canadian national jiu-jitsu team. Now and she was a multi-sport national champion as well. So looks to have a very talented background in jiu-jitsu. And Dinwoody, coming off of a 3-1 amateur record with 3 first-round finishes, but also a kickboxing and ADCC competitor with multiple championships in her own right. So looks to be a very high-level women's fight that I can't wait for. Both are going to bring it, and you have to imagine that it's Watson's going to be looking to take it to the ground and use her jiu-jitsu, and Dinwoody with kickboxing experience is probably going to want to keep it standing.
Yep. So let's fucking talk about Cal Nelson, man. That's the time. And I think the way that we're gonna do it this time is that I'm gonna let you say everything you want to say about that fight, and then I'm gonna go on with my stuff because I have watched this fight and I have analyzed it minute by minute, and I'm gonna give you my full minute by minute recap of it. But first off, Josh, you've got the floor, man. What do you gotta say about that weird ass fight, man?
Yeah, I'll give you a bit of a less descriptive than minute by minute. But it looked like Nelson was having a good success with the wrestling in round 1. Controlled for quite a while, controlled the fight until he got reversed near the end, and Choi sort of had a bit more dominant positions in the round 1, but overall, no one really put a stamp on it. It was a pretty close round. And round 2 was when it heated up a bit. There was no grappling, I don't think. It was all stand up, which was what people were kind of expecting. Most people were expecting from the fight, given Doo Ho Choi is a crazy guy, and Nelson he's got a good kickboxing background as well. But early on in round 2, Nelson, he dropped Choi, kind of dropped. It was he stunned him, came in wild with a flying knee, and Choi sort of fought back a bit in the round. Nelson had some good moments with body kicks and with some heavy exchanges, but it was a pretty close round after that, and that was right at the start. So I think that was the round that two of the judges gave to Nelson, I believe. And then round 3 was more of round 1, sort of right away. There was a pretty heavy exchange in the center to start things off, and then Nelson went in for the takedown, kind of held Choi up against the cage, got him down twice, I think, and then right at the 2-minute mark, Choi got a good reversal and held sort of dominant position and finished off the fight with I'm forgetting the biggest thing, but he finished off the fight with some big ground and pound shots to the body, which I think sort of left an impression in the judge's mind, because although Nelson had an extra minute of control in that third round. It was Choi that was just a little bit more active, but such a close fight when you really break it down round by round. And that headbutt in round 3, it looked like, I don't know, the referee was pretty fast to take a point. Even a lot of people are in uproar about it. Dana White afterwards said he gave Choi his win bonus. He thinks it was BS, but I don't know. I think it was, a little crazy to take a point away. I think you could have just taken the position away. But, I thought it was a good performance by Nelson nonetheless. Like, that the UFC was trying to push up all the Koreans on this card and give them a spotlight to shine, and Nelson sort of took away from that and added to his own stock, I think, with a good, hard-fought majority draw.
Yep, I think there's some positive to get away for Kyle in that fight because, his last fight to me was his weirdest because we've always seen Kyle Nelson kind of go crazy in round 1, then just gas out. Then his last fight, we really seen him try to do everything he could not to gas out. So he was really focused in round 1 and really measured in his approach and everything. And bro, he still gassed out. And I don't know what happened in that fight, to be honest. And I think for the first time here, we really saw Kyle Nelson having like good levels of energy for the whole fight. We didn't see him like with his mouth wide open, really looking like he was diminished by the fact that like maybe he was lacking a little bit of energy. And like you said, it was hard fought. It was really hard fought. But I think I'm going to go with my round by round analysis. Then I'm going to go with my general analysis of that fight. So when there's fights that are like a little bit contentious or just that I don't really know how to score them by looking at the round, I like to go into it minute by minute because I feel like there's 5 minutes in the round, so it was necessarily someone's going to win more minutes than the other. That's just a way to score a round for me. So basically, round 1, first minute, I think it goes to Doo Ho Choi. He really came out the strongest. Lots of leg kicks. That was the best thing that he did during that whole fight. Always peppering with the leg kick, really earning on Cal's front leg. Cal was able to land the takedown here, but it was at the very final seconds of the first minute. So I give this first minute to Doo Ho Choi. Then second minute is the one where Nelson is working on his takedown, and then he's able to kind of in a scramble get the back, then works from the back, but he's not fully in. He doesn't have like his both hooks in. He's got one hook, and he's really trying to angle himself for his second hook. Goes for a rear naked choke attempt, but kind of slips on it, gets caught way too high, then loses position, and basically from a second to another goes from having the guy's back to being on bottom crucifix, which is basically the worst fucking position you can have. But still, that's at the very end of the third minute of the first round. So basically, after 3 minutes of round 1, Nelson won 2 minutes, Choi won the very first minute of the fight. But unfortunately, Cal's not really able to get out at that point. He gets stuck under, and it takes him the 2 full last minutes to re-guard completely, and is not even able to get back to his feet. So Choi is able to really easily win the 2 last minutes of the round, and basically win the round there, in my opinion, because yes, there's a lot of hanging on in that round. And in this fight in general, to be honest, there's a lot of hanging on. But hanging on from a guy who you just took down, that when you got his legs and you basically are getting your face like ripped into the floor, and the guy is able to be posting and to be sitting against the cage, it's not the same hanging on as hanging on to a guy in full side control with the crucifix. I got to give more value to the guy who has the position. Like Cal was able to take Doo Ho Choi down, but even when he was working for the back, never really actually secured a position. Like if this was a jiu-jitsu match, he would have 0 points for all that he did, except for the takedowns. Which was not the case with Doo Ho Choi. That, yes, got the position basically because of a slip, but it was a slip caused by an over-aggression from the other part. So he just capitalized on it, won the 2 last minutes of the round, then won the fucking round. Then, like you said, round 2, Nelson comes out first minute, hurts him pretty badly, easily wins the first minute. I think he wins the second minute too, because there's basically a one punch difference. There's few cool leg kicks from Doo Ho Choi. I think Choi is able to land one good punch, but Cal is able to land a very cool body kick and a good right hand. And I think that just edged the minute for him in this case for me. Then Doo Ho Choi is really able to take over the round at that point with the leg kicks, which he peppers for the full next minute, gets that minute. Then it's really at the minute after where he's able to set his hands up with the leg kicks. He's now able to punch because Cal is expecting the leg kick so much because he's basically overthrowing the leg kick. So he gets a reaction, and from the reaction, he's able to set up his hands. So Choi really able to win the 3 last minutes of the round, which still gives a 3-2 to Doo Ho Choi, but the final minute was very, very close. So I edged it to Choi. But the first minute being so dominant in the way that he almost dropped him and everything, like we're supposed to score according to damage in the new criteria. So I'm giving this round to Cal, bro. I'm giving it on damage. It's a 3-2 for Choi, but it's like the slimmest margin. And Cal almost knocks him down and hurts him and is able to put some pressure on him early in the round. So for that, I give him the round. We get to round 3, which, like, I think is the round that gave the bad taste in people's mouths, because round 1, yes, there's a lot of hanging on, but still some cool grappling here and there, some cool little scrambles. Like you said, round 2 it's a pretty good round. There's some striking exchanges, but round 3, Cal just decides that he wrestled, and bro just basically shoots a single leg and dies on his single leg for 3 minutes against the fence. That's basically what happened, and he's eating all the punches and everything. And like, if that round's a little more fun, I think that people are not complaining about this fight as much, but I think it wasn't a bad fight, but this round made it not a good fight either. And I think that's what basically made the people sour on it a little bit. And yes, like you said, the fucking headbutt thing, like I would be like, it's the ref's decision after all and everything, but I don't think it affected Cal as much as Doo Ho Choi was punished for the act. And like, yes, I think they should take points away when there's fouls for sure, but they never do. Like, they know you can grab the fence 3 times, poke the guy in the eye once, kick him in the balls once too, and then maybe you're gonna start losing some points. But usually you can foul like once, 2, twice, 3 times, and there's nothing really happening. And there's one headbutt, which is absolutely inadvertent. It's like there's no way Doo Ho Choi really tried to headbutt. I think, like, is it Laura Senko was saying that? I think he was trying to get his arms out, and in the motion, he headbutted him. And these things happen. You should be responsible of your body. So, of course, it was a foul and everything. But like you said, I think he should have lost the position, and they resumed the fight from there. And I think the point deduction was a little bit too strict here too, but yes, that basically gave the round to Doo Ho Choi 3 minutes to 2, because yes, Nelson was the aggressor, and I'm putting quotation marks here because he was like on the takedown working for it, but he spent so much time bent in half trying to finish a single leg that wasn't there and eating punches in defense. So bro, I think it was a 29-28 for Doo Ho Choi. He lost a point, so that makes it 28-28. I guess the right decision was taken. Do I think the right guy won? No, because nobody won, and I think Doo Ho Choi deserved to win that fight, but not gonna be mad because Cal would have went to 1-5 in the UFC, and that's not really looking good. Now he's 1-4-1. It's not looking that much better because they're basically paying the other guy as if he won. So I guess they're basically acting as if Cal lost. I just hope that he's gonna be able to continue because it's a weird 1-5, man. The guy has been competitive in each and every one of his fights. He's always so close, but it's just I feel like there's one little thing that could click that would make Cal Wilson be like 5-1, except like and not 1-5. But I don't know, man.
Mhm. Yeah, like he was doing so good against Billy Quarantillo. Had really good moments in that fight. Looked impressive, and yeah, it was on like you said, his weight cut must have been really good to get down to 145 again after just fighting at 155. But he managed his cardio very well and looked good over 3 rounds. It was just a very close fight. But yeah, I don't know.
I think that like in the end, if Cal was able to establish one position in that fight, he would have won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like,
if he could just finish that takedown.
Yeah, just finish it and get into guard. Like in MMA, guard counts. In jiu-jitsu, if you get into guard, you're basically fucked, man. Like there's nothing you can do from there except for escape. But in MMA, if you just finish a takedown, establish guard, it's gonna count for something. And Doo Ho Choi, yes, just took advantage of some slips and some weird stuff happening here and there. But when Doo Ho Choi got like in the 3rd round, Cal's working for a takedown, and then they just separate and they re-engage, and like Doo Ho Choi is just on top of Cal suddenly. Like weird fucking shit happens and he just falls, and he just spent like a minute and a half, 2 minutes working like a madman for a takedown, and just one stupid thing happens and now he's on bottom, and Doo Ho Choi he's got a position, and yes, he ends up losing it because of the headbutt and everything, but it's just Cal was never able to get the position, and Doo Ho Choi, yes, maybe a little luck went into that, but he was able to get the positions when it was time to get the positions, and I feel like that was the difference here, and that's why he won. There were lots of 29-27s Choi on the media scorecards. Do you have an opinion on that?
I don't know. Yeah, I forgot before. Like I made a note in my head. I'm gonna look at MMA decisions, but while you were talking, I looked it up, and so I don't have I'm just trying to do the math. So that just means they gave him every round. But I guess I can see it because like that's sort of fair because that knockdown happened like semi knockdown, like that good shot in the 2nd round happened so early on, and then it was relatively close throughout the rest of it. So I guess they could forget about that, but I really think that Nelson should have won the 3rd round. None of the rounds were all that decisive, which is tough, but I definitely think that a 28-28 draw is pretty fair in this circumstance. It's just tough for Nelson because he's put up a decent fight his last 2 fights. Like he could have arguably won if you really break it down into the fine like intristics of judging, but just hasn't gotten that decision to go his way.
Yeah, so basically last night it was my best friend's 30th birthday, so I was not watching fights. I came home, we went on Discord with a couple of homies and we spoke and we watched some fights, but I didn't like watch enough of the fights to really talk to you about them, especially that I was there for the main card and like it was a pretty rough one, to be honest. Like outside of the first fight, and no, outside of the first fight, basically all the rest was like the Cal Nelson fight. Yeah, it was maybe a little less exciting than we thought it was gonna be. Like you always expect fireworks with Doo Ho Choi. Wasn't really the case here, but probably still was the best fight on the main card because the first fight really wasn't a fight and the other fights were trash, man.
Yeah, that literally what was it? Devin Clark and was it Daun Jung?
Yep.
Yeah, they literally put me to sleep on the couch. I woke up in the morning and first thing I did was watch Derek Lewis and Sergey Spivak because I was just like I could not stay awake during that fight, and then all of a sudden it's 6:30 in the morning and I live on the West Coast, so it wasn't even like it was all that late for me. Like that was just like 11:40 or so. But the UFC had, like, I thought the prelims were pretty good. The road to the UFC fights were all good. Yeah, Adam Fugit got a nice win. It was a big underdog, but it all just sort of all the momentum came to a halt when the main card started, and it was pretty lackluster.
And man, you just hope that you're witnessing all of that bullshit to at least see something fun in the main event, and you just fucking Derek gets ragdolled and like is just so ready to quit when it's time to quit. Like he was so ready, man. And it just sucks to see it that way because like you can never say that Derek Lewis looked like a comfortable fighter. The guy never looked like he really loved fighting, really looked like awkward in the cage, and like sometimes he was just put into positions that he didn't want to be in, but he was just too tough to quit. But I don't know if that toughness got beat out of him or anything, but bro, he was just. We still saw the Derek Lewis like anti-jiu-jitsu bullshit that is just that shit's not working. I'm just getting up right now, and he's getting up, and the guy is just on top of him. Like, what the fuck? This guy's getting up. How is that even possible? But like I said on the French podcast, I think Sergey Spivak probably watched him some Fight League Atlantic because he had the Dorian Dokai not letting go of the body lock approach and was just dragging him back down. And like, bro, as soon as he locked the fucking arm triangle, you could see Derek's hand like coming up slowly, and I was like, bro, he's gonna quit, man. He's not gonna last long in that choke. And it's just like Derek's one of my favorite fighters of all time, probably one of my favorite active fighters. He never was that because of his fighting, so I can't like come here and say, it hurts me so much that he's losing, but like I don't really feel like he wants to be there anymore, and that's what bugs me a little more than the fact that he's losing. If the guy's losing but still trying, fine, let him fight if he wants to, but like, bro, does it even look like he wants to be here anymore?
Yeah, not really. I think it might just be too hard to pass up that contract. That, because he's on a huge contract, but he really just has not looked motivated. Looked just since that Tuivasa fight. I don't know. He sort of crapped his pants in the Cyril Gane fight. He put so much pressure on himself. I think it was like the same day that he was arrested, many years before that. And then he was fighting for the interim belt in his hometown, their home city. So ever since that Cyril Gane fight, things just have not been going his way, and it's like the stoppages have just been happening quicker and quicker, and yeah. Not good to see. It was, just like Dorian Dokai. I thought of that before you said it. While you were talking, I made that connection, but he was just like, I think after the third or fourth one, Lewis just sort of gave up. He's like, all right, you can have this win. I don't care that much.
Yeah, man. It's just, bro, like, where is this even going? Like, bro, yes, Sergey Spivak, he just won the main event. Like, good shit. Now what? Gonna fight Volkov? Think you're gonna win that fight?
Yeah.
Tom Aspinall?
Because he's already fought Aspinall. He's already fought Tuivasa. Sorry to cut you off, but then Volkov's already matched up with Romanov. So
yeah, like
not a lot.
Fighting Curtis Blades. Like, bro, what are we doing with Sergey Spivak? How does he fit into all of that? And like, in how many fights we're not even thinking about Sergey Spivak anymore.
Yeah,
like, I feel like all that for absolutely nothing, man. And it's a bummer, man. And I think that I don't want to be always negative, even though I am, but like last night really felt like, and we can come back to the road to the UFC, guys, because I think it's the basically the only thing that's worth talking about on this card. But like, bro, even the fucking Fedor fight, but that was the bummer that we knew was gonna happen. But when it was time, we just opened I was at the restaurant and I just opened my fucking phone and I watched Faber get knocked out in the first round, like we always knew it was going to happen. And we were just like, wow, I guess that's sad. And we closed our phone and kept on going with our night just to come back home and watch Derek Lewis get get beaten in like the most unmotivated way possible, and just such a bummer to both main events.
Yeah, it was not a fan-friendly night, I don't think, with that. Everyone knew it was going to happen with Ryan Bader and Fedor, but it was nice. I'm glad that Bellator put in a lot of effort to make it a nice retirement night for him. They had a very good like sort of ceremony, long video tribute for him, and they brought all those legends out to honor him, which was super nice to see. But they just like should have given them Czech Congo instead of Bader retiring both these guys in sad ways, because it's like, yeah, it's not a very, like, didn't make you happy going to bed that night thinking about all the fights and everything, entertainment wise and like storyline wise.
Yeah, but I kind of get that. Like, he's the king, man. He's the GOAT, and if he wants that fight, he's won a couple fights. If that's the one he really wants for his retirement. It's like Fedor is a guy that it's tough to say no to. Like, the guy has been around. Like, there was one of the homies in the Discord chat that was saying, like, yes, he's 47, but like with these Russians, you never really know their age, so he might be 55, and we just don't know. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the case. So you just gotta give it to him. But no, that wasn't the matchup to go out for sure. That wasn't the good one. But man, like, even Ryan Bader's kind of a dinosaur, but like Fedor's a way older dinosaur, like 90s type dinosaur.
Yeah, he did not look very young in there, just body-wise and everything, but maybe a bit better than Chuck Liddell looked when he came back. But do you see Dana White shitting all over Fedor in the post-fight press conference?
Yeah, I don't want to shit on the guy, but and proceeds to shit on the guy. But that's typical Dana. He always had like a huge fucking beef with Fedor, and the beef that like very Dana White type beef. The fucking mad because he gave him what is in his opinion a lot of money, and Fedor said, "Nah, go fuck yourself. I can make that money myself." And I think Fedor, like, they wanted co-promotion and stuff like that, and like it just wasn't gonna work out with the UFC. But you know, when the UFC, it's kind of the same thing that we're seeing with Ngannou now. Like they gave him a lot of money. He said no. That fucking guy doesn't want to fight, and he was never that good anyway. And so that's typical Dana. But yeah, that's very Dana White did. No, I don't want to shit on the guy, then shits on the fucking guy the night of his retirement.
Yeah, I know. Ariel's gonna have a heyday with that one tomorrow. It's just
Probably
shitting on Dana.
Probably, man. So yeah, road to the UFC, guys. Which are the ones that I'm looking into, and which are the ones that I don't have to care about?
Cool. Let me bring this card up
Because
again.
the one that I like, I still haven't watched them. We're Sunday night right now. On Sunday afternoon, I said that I needed to watch them. The one that everybody was talking about going in, and that pretty much is everyone's talking about going out.
Nakamura.
Yeah, it's the Nakamura guy, the wrestler who basically knocked the guy out in 30 seconds.
Yeah, man, he is crazy. Like, that was insane. Right away, he dropped the guy like 10 seconds in, and then a bit later just puts him out cold. I can't wait for that. At 135 too, everyone's talking about how good his wrestling is, but I think he used it one fight and Road to the UFC, but he's got crazy power. I can't believe it's at 135 too, because he looks big and crazy power. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle him and who they match him up with, because you know he's big over in this area, like, geographically, just from everyone watching him on Road to the UFC, and you can imagine how big of a name he is over in the Asian, like over in that continent. So can't wait for him. Otherwise, as far as Road to the UFC goes, I thought Drew Lee looked really good wrestling wise. Like, he's mainly a kickboxer, but he just dominated on the ground. Jekka Saragi, if you rewatch that one, you'll see him do a little bit of raw tang. He's getting hit in the face and he's egging him on, and then just gets taken down and has nothing for him. But yeah, besides that, Jiang Yang Lee was pretty good. Just fought a good grappler, but was better in the striking. And Young Sun Park against Young Guk Choi got a rear naked choke, but to be honest, I don't remember that one a ton. I think Nakamura is the guy to watch.
For sure. Now, I think Nakamura and Jubilee, that's the two guys I heard the most about today, like on Twitter and everything. So that's the one that I'm going to be looking into. And I need to, of course, look back at my guy, the Iron Turtle, which is one of my favorite fighters that nobody know about. And fucking Tyra, too, looks like he's pretty good. I don't know. Am I crazy to think that Tyra might be better than Mokaev?
Not at all, man. I think that he is better. I think he's fought maybe a bit less competition, like especially seeing him in his, I think, third UFC fight now, taking on a guy fresh off Contender Series. Although it was this card was supposed to be in Korea, they were supposed to give him a layup matchup, and he did what he was supposed to do. He's really making it look easy against these guys, and Mokaev hasn't had the most impressive performances per se. So like Malcolm Gordon had success against him. I think he won a round, and he looked like he could have been winning that round 3. But sorry, to get back to your question, you're not crazy, Tyra. I agree with you. He's better than Mokaev right now.
Yeah, I just think it comes down to athleticism, and I think Tyra's more athletic. I think they're both very skilled, but like, bro, at flyweight, especially like lower weight divisions, if you're not like an extremely good athlete, it's gonna be tough to be the best guy in the world. And I think Tyra has that natural stuff that you can buy. And Mokaev, it's not a bad athlete, but for flyweight standards, he's not a top athlete in the division, and I think that's what's gonna make it tough on him moving forward, to be honest. But yep, let's talk about some fucking Conor McGregor stuff again, bro. Man, I can't be less excited, man. I think it's impossible to be less excited. Like, I don't give a fuck about Tough. It's been trash for years. For basically since I started in 2005, got stale in 2008, 2009. And we're in 2023 now, and they're still trying to do the same fucking bullshit. We got weird, and like we're at a time where there's like the fucking road to the UFC and the Contender Series, and I think he's even doing the Dana looking for a fight here and there.
He is.
So like, there's just so many ways to get into the UFC that are way more appealing than going into a house and everything. And like, just, bro, it's gonna be the bottom of the barrel in talent. I don't think the coaching dynamic is going to be that crazy, because I think Michael Chandler is going to be sucking Conor's dick all season long. And bro, it's just, I don't care about Conor McGregor. I never cared about him. He was a cool fighter back in the days when he tried. He hasn't been trying for years. And like, contrary to many younger fans, like, I've been watching MMA. Like, he's not the guy that got me into MMA. He's not the guy that made me more excited into MMA. Like, none of that. I was really a hardcore fan before him. Will be a hardcore fan after him. So Conor's not the guy that's going to make me watch The Ultimate Fighter. Michael Chandler is certainly not the guy that's going to make me watch The Ultimate Fighter, because he's a cool fighter, but I'm not going out my way to watch some Michael Chandler interviews and to get some very like sketchy cringe pep talks and see you at the top and all that bullshit. Like, it's just, I feel like the UFC's taken all the things I really don't care about, and they're putting it all together and trying to see if that old stack of shit I don't care about is gonna make a hole that I'm a care about, and I just don't, bro. I just don't. And to put the cherry on top of the icing, I just hate McGregor fans, bro. They're annoying. They're annoying because, and I gotta say the same thing about Khabib fans. They're the two worst fan bases. They're just awful, because in both cases, there are just so many people that only watch MMA when Conor's there, or only watch MMA when Khabib's there, and they just don't know shit about shit, and they just come on to Twitter or to any fucking place, and they're trying to argue with you about shit that does not make sense whatsoever because they don't know what they're talking about, but they're still gonna be there and they're gonna be talking. And bro, these motherfuckers are probably not fighting till like November, and we're gonna have to hear about stupid McGregor fanboys just pissing us off for the next pretty much 6 to 8 months. And I can't be hyped for that, man. I just can't. The thing I'm gonna say though, the only positive part about all of that is the fight. It's gonna be a good fight, but like all the rest, can't care, man. I can't.
Yeah, it's like they were getting all that backlash, all the fans talking about, why aren't you promoting Makhachev versus Volkanovski? Why are you promoting Slap League more than this? And then they come out and their response is to announce the Ultimate Fighter with
Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, guys.
But yeah, I think it's like the best possible fight out of like the options that they had. 'Cause they were discussing Masvidal McGregor, which would have been good. Ferguson McGregor, which I wouldn't want to watch that fight, but I'd be happy for Tony getting that paycheck. But I think this fight's going to be fireworks. I think it's the best possible fight, but the worst possible Ultimate Fighter opposite coach than McGregor, because I think there would have been a lot better dialogue between McGregor and Ferguson. I can already just like hear it in my head, and I think Masvidal and McGregor would have been going crazy at each other, trying to fight each other, and just given a lot of build up and promotion stuff. So unlike you, I try to watch The Ultimate Fighter. Last season, I couldn't watch last season. It was pretty dull in my opinion, but I'm a pretty big Ultimate Fighter fan, if I have to say that. It really reeled me in when I was first starting to become a big fan, like The Ultimate Fighter, just getting to watch the earlier seasons with guys that are currently in the UFC. Just really like those seasons with Diaz, and of course season 1, just seeing all those guys when they were young. Then like Ultimate Fighter Australia versus Canada, the Nations one, lots of guys that I'm big fans of were on that, and you got to see them behind the scenes. But when it's changed a lot though, from talent level, of course, with all these other routes that you mentioned, like looking for a fight, Contender Series, road to the UFC. Guys don't want to go and live in the Ultimate Fighter house and fight for the same shit level contract when they could get a Contender Series fight and get like way more promotion from one fight. But I'm going to be watching. I'm going to try to like it. Hopefully they beef.
Yeah. But I think you make a really good point here, because like, yes, the Ultimate Fighter got stale, but I still kept track of it, because at a point, like, most guys who were there were at least gonna get a shot, or like gonna get brought back later, or because it was really the main way of recruiting talent for the UFC, outside of just picking up guys from the regional scene here and there. But now that there's just, bro, I can't even tell you who won the last Ultimate Fighter, basically. And is this guy having success now? Is he going to be still there in 5 years? Because, like, if you look at the recent Ultimate Fighter winners, like, not much of them have been having success. And I would even say that, like, not much of the cast will have success. Like, not much of the cast will even make it to the UFC, get one shot. So like back in the day, yes, it got stale, but you still had as a fan to keep track of it, because there were going to be some guys in there that you were going to see for years. But nah, I don't feel like it's the case anymore. I feel like there's a season and there's probably 1 or 2 guys, or if you're really lucky, 3 or 4 guys that you're going to see on the finale, and then that's going to be it. And it's not even a gauge of success anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, I think this one could be a bit different though, because there's going to be such a big spotlight on the season because of the coaches. So I think some guys might really want to take advantage of having all those viewers watching. And Dana's been talking about how it's going to be aired on ESPN live, so that's huge for the show. So I think we could get, that's one positive, we could get some better fighters out of this season compared to the last 10 seasons or so, besides when they did that flyweight one, because yeah, just a big spotlight, lots of eyes on it.
Yeah, and just one other potential good thing that could come out of this. Like if it flops, it's over, man. Like if this season flops, like if Conor can't save the Ultimate Fighter, nothing can. So just can this shit, bro.
Yeah, and they better. That is funny. Yeah, it's like the Save the Ultimate Fighter season. It's their last effort. They're doing everything they can. Like Conor McGregor's the big gun to get him. I wonder how much they have to pay him for this. 'Cause it must be a lot.
Pay him to just be there and not really coach anybody and not really give a fuck about
Yeah,
anybody.
that
And
last time he didn't show up till his team lost like the first 4 fights in a row, or he just showed up when Artem fought.
Yeah. So, man, anything else you want to touch on,
Ooh,
or are we done?
I think we might be done. Just hopefully they can get a Canadian on that season because normally they like to get one on there. Like, so it'd be cool. I know Jamie Siraj is trying to. He posted a little bit about that. He wants to get in there if they do 145.
Yeah, if he wins, bro, it could be good. I think they're saying filming in. No, they're filming soon because it's gonna be airing in May. Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
that not might not be the good time frame, but yeah, if he gets the chance to be there, I hope he takes it and he doesn't fight for BFL. Even though I want to see it, like if you can have that chance, you should take it. But yeah, maybe a Canadian on the season, maybe not like Bobby Maximus. That would be cool.
Yeah.
And
Please don't do heavyweights. Please do. I just want the lighter the weight classes, the better for me.
yep, not for sure. It's just because there are still good lightweights and featherweights out there. Heavyweight, man, we're scraping the very bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Hopefully UFC checks out the list we made or you made for the Ultimate Fighter. Maybe makes it a Nations episode. But, but yeah,
For
that's
sure.
it for me.
Yeah, cool. But that's it for me too, Dan. It was the fourth episode of the Canadian MMA Podcast. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you next week, where we're gonna like. I keep saying if planes allow me to, we're gonna be together for that episode because I'm still very PTSD about the last time I had to take the plane to come to Vancouver. But I think everything should be in order that time. Let's cross our fingers. And yeah, man, the UFC 284, it's going to be a card. I'll know how good it is, but the main event and the co-main are absolute fucking bangers, which should give us plenty to talk about. I'm sure about that. So we'll be there next week. Thanks for watching and see you guys.